Ada and this is Buckingham News. The University of Buckingham's medical school has got off to a flying start in 2015, and the mood on campus has been bolstered by the renaming of Milton Keynes Hospital to reflect the link to the university. James Vassiner has the story.
Good news for the university, as Milton Keynes Hospital has been renamed as Milton Keynes University Hospital earlier this month. The change reflects the hospital's upgraded status with the huge expansion of teaching taking place at the trust, most prominent of which has been the medical school's ties to the hospital. The move will enable the hospital to attract and train the best doctors and clinical staff and ensure its financial stability. Chief Executive Joe Harrison explained the benefits of the renaming.
The university will be sending us students here on a regular basis. They will form part of the teams that we have here looking after patients, and over the time that the students are coming here on site, they will learn how to interact with patients, learn about the conditions that our patients are presenting with, and then to go on and diagnose and understand how those patients are going to be treated here.
This part of the UK doesn't have a huge number of medical students. And I think one of the reasons that the GMC was so supportive was they realised that a medical school that would bring in new undergraduate students would be a real benefit to the area, and not just educationally, but also for the provision of healthcare. There's a general sense that teaching hospitals provide patients with a better experience for a variety of different reasons, and obviously the trust.
Hospital staff also expressed the benefits of increasing ties for both the university and the hospital.
I think it'll attract more people, more medical students who see the value of working at Milton Keynes, and it will be great for the people of Milton Keynes.
I think it's a really exciting opportunity for all the members of staff at Milton Keynes, and will all benefit in different ways.
I think it will help if they help the hospital to attract more people who want to come and work in the hospital, maybe with more academic background.
After Health Secretary Jeremy Hunt visited and confirmed the government's commitment to fostering positive links between hospitals and the universities, it seems that the future of medicine in the UK has never been brighter. This is James Vassiner for Buckingham News.
Climate change is a growing concern for governments worldwide, but the recent appointment of a climate skeptic by the university to head a new energy institute has had them feeling the heat. Rebecca Burkhardt has the story.
A recent report in The Independent has criticised the University of Buckingham's academic neutrality after the appointment of renowned renewable critic Dr. John Constable to head a new energy unit. Dr. Constable is best known for his 2013 report wherein he concluded that adopting renewable energy would be a step backwards for the country. Although the government dismissed the report as a manifesto, the appointment will see Constable at the forefront of energy research. At the moment, Constable leads the controversial Renewable Energy Foundation, a charity that claims to promote sustainable development by means of energy conservation. Critiques of the charity say it's a front for climate skepticism. Bob Wood, Director of Policy at the London School of Economics Grantham Institute, said, "I suspect that Buckingham's new energy institute will mainly churn out propaganda against renewable energy, rather than carry out robust academic research." Meanwhile, Buckingham News reached out to the Renewable Energy Foundation for a comment.
Energy policy need not be entirely driven by climate policy, but it certainly is to some extent. So if you're looking at an energy institute, what you're looking at is something which is not just dealing with climate change or climate change policy. It's dealing with a whole realm of other issues surrounding energy policy.
While the university seems to be pushing ahead with plans for the new Energy Institute, only time will tell whether it can maintain academic neutrality in this pioneering research, or if this is the tip of a rapidly melting iceberg. Rebecca Burkhardt, Buckingham News.
Increasing numbers of young people are waiting more than 3 years for mental health help. Due to a lack of hospital beds, some are being sent hundreds of miles from home for treatment. But is there anything being done to combat this deteriorating issue? Queenie Sheikh has the story.
Emergency admissions for psychiatric conditions soared last year. More than 15,000 of them were from young women aged 15 to 19, and that number looks set to increase. Causes are varied, with most patients citing exam stress, social media, bullying, and the pressure to look slim and attractive as contributing factors to their mental distress. The University of Buckingham has a comprehensive welfare department. Head of Welfare Debunker explains why the NHS is failing young people.
I think it's purely because of the funding issues. Mental health has traditionally been one of those services that has been underfunded for many years. So with the brand new document that the government has issued, this will help with the new increased £80 million in funding for mental health services.
For students, what are the warning signs?
For depression, I would say, which is the most common thing within a university, is to look out for things like being withdrawn from social activities, not being able to sleep or sleeping too much, not eating very much or eating too much. Behavioural changes, mood changes, saying life's not worth living, feeling very alone, feeling very stressed and anxious as well.
What should students do if they're feeling under pressure?
At Student Welfare here, you can come and talk to us. I'm a trained mental health nurse by background. We also have the Big White Wall, which is free to every single student in the university.
There are many organizations that try to help people, like the Big White Wall, but their efforts are not enough. It is clear that more needs to be done in order to support people through vulnerable times in their lives. This is Queenie Sheikh for Buckingham News.
Last term, Buckingham News reported on plans to change the long-standing law tutorial system. Now, under pressure from the SU, plans have been made that would bring the system more in line with the rest of the university for law students. Rabiatu Baboy investigates.
Small group tutorials are an integral part of teaching at the University of Buckingham, but did you know that many students aren't afforded the same flexibility across all departments? Buckingham's Law Department, by far the biggest at the university, has for years used a system of pre-allocation and religiously adhered to time slots. This runs counter to other departments where students pick for themselves when they want to have their tutorials.
Recent student union pressure and negotiations with the law department means that a change to create a universal approach to teaching across the university is afoot. Student union president Matt Curry explained the changes to us.
The student union executive have aimed to voice the opinions of a lot of law students into changing the current status and system of the law tutorials, going from a system whereby they would be allocated into a certain tutorial on a certain day at a certain time, into one that's adopted by the business school, where they're allowed to choose the time and day of their tutorial and their preference before the term starts.
And what do students think of the changes?
It's really good because it's able to work with different people's schedules, and it adheres to different people's times that they're available and everything, and it's a lot more flexible and considerate from the universities.
Considering that some students, we have young, we have old students, some students who are working part-time, so it was a bit difficult for them to rearrange their schedules.
It's especially helpful because tutors who you might learn better with a certain tutor, or you might learn better with a certain class.
It seems that tutorials, one of the university's unique selling points, appears to be stronger than ever and ensures that Buckingham will continue to compete with Oxford and Cambridge for a level of personal teaching hitherto unknown in UK higher education. Rabiatu Baboy, Buckingham News.
In other news, the long-anticipated minivan arrived on campus this week. The as-yet undecorated minivan will be used by the sports union to transport the football team to and from games. After 3 months of waiting, we will have to see if the van is a worthy investment for Buckingham Sports Union. May the 7th marks the general election, and Buckingham News is producing special coverage over the next 4 weeks. Now, over to our special politics show and politics correspondent, Dan Morris.
In the run-up to the general election, Buckingham News has been conducting a poll of current students to see who they'll vote for on May the 7th. Our in-house statistician, Federica Battiato, breaks down the numbers for us now.
The Buckingham News Weekly Poll will collect voting intentions over the next 4 weeks as we run up to the general election. Each week we will ask students on campus who they will vote for on May the 7th. As the weeks progress, the sample size will increase. This week shows a clear pattern of voting intention at the University of Buckingham. The Conservatives top our poll with a whopping 50% of responses. The Labour Party has just 25% of the vote on campus at the moment, so they have some work to do to catch up with their main rivals. Both the Green Party and UKIP are polling well for the relative size of their parties, with Greens enjoying 15% and UKIP 10% of the vote. Most shocking, however, is the fact that not a single respondent said they would vote for the Liberal Democrats in 4 weeks' time. Normally, the Lib Dems poll well with students, but maybe their about turn on tuition fees has left a bad taste in the mouths of what would normally be the sacred student vote. And now, back to the studio.
Thank you, Federica. Buckingham constituency is something of an anomaly, with only a few candidates contesting incumbent John Bercow, Speaker of the House of Commons. Breaking with the convention of the Speaker standing unopposed, Buckingham has 3 candidates running for the election: current Speaker John Bercow, local plumber and UKIP candidate Dave Fowler, and the Green Party candidate Alan Francis, who in recent interviews with Buckingham News stated his intention, if elected, to bring the University of Buckingham into public sector.
Well, University of Buckingham being a private, and I think the only private university in the country, would be brought into the public system in some way so that it was sort of on a par with all the other universities in the country. I don't think we'd leave it as a private university.
In the run-up to the general election, many candidates are on the street campaigning for public support. We sent Philip Joss into the centre of Buckingham to meet the current Speaker of the House of Commons, John Bercow.
John Bercow has been MP for Buckingham for 18 years and since 2009 has acted as Speaker of the House of Commons upon renouncing his membership of the Conservative Party.
I'm cautiously optimistic. I wouldn't put it more strongly than that. No candidate has a right to the support of the electorate. That support has to be earned. I tend to feel that it is earned not just or mainly in a 3 or 4 week election campaign. As to the proliferation of smaller parties, I think that that's a trend that's been observable for several years now. If you look back 40 years, the 2 biggest parties, the Conservatives and Labour, tended to have something like 90% of the vote. Now it is somewhat less than that.
There is generally a convention that the Speaker of the House stands unopposed, a convention which this year has only been observed by the 3 largest parties.
You're quite right to say that traditionally there has been a convention that the Speaker goes unopposed, and that convention has generally, not always, been observed by Conservative, Labour and Liberal Democrat parties. Conservatives, Labour and Liberal Democrat are not standing against me in Buckingham, but as you rightly say, there are other candidates. Support is not something you've got a right to enjoy, it's something you have to earn, and I'm going to go on between now and May the 7th to try to earn it.
Only time will tell if John Bercow has done enough to retain the public support. Philip Joss, Buckingham News.
And now over to sports with Henry Thompson.
Thank you, Charlotte. Last Saturday, the Buckingham Sports Union held a stall at the Open Day Fair at the University of Buckingham. The stall was being run by several key members of the BSU. But what did they actually achieve? Tyler Koch has the story.
On the 11th of April, the BSU and Sport Department presented a sports showcase. The University of Buckingham Open Day is the perfect opportunity for prospective students to meet our academic staff. For the BSU and the Sport Department, it is the perfect time to highlight what sports our university has to offer. The university's Sport and Fitness program offers students the opportunity to compete at either varsity level or to simply have fun with sports, as well as sports such as netball and football. The university offers exercise classes such as Pilates or kickboxing. There are also over a dozen other sporting activities on offer.
Our goal is to educate as many students as possible about what the Buckingham Sports Union can bring to them, so that when they come here, they know they're interested in sport, they come see us, our interest grows, we grow as a union, and we're much stronger and more effective and better for the student welfare.
Hopefully our sports that we have to offer will entice people to join if they do come here, and hopefully grow our netball club and other societies and clubs, and maybe even join, start up new ones such as hockey or volleyball. We've had some interest in tennis.
This showcase at the University Open Day is an effective way to show the variety of sports available and also allows future students to see what they will be interested in when they join Buckingham. This is Tyler Cobb, Buckingham News.
Earlier today, the University of Buckingham ran a showcase for the Buckingham Sports Union, displaying the array of sports societies on offer at the university. But what was this all for? Elliot Beverley has the info.
On the hottest day of the year so far, the University of Buckingham Sports Union put on a showcase displaying a range of talent across a variety of sports. The event comes at a great time for the Sports Union, having just finished the rejuvenation of the basketball court amidst the spring heatwave. The day included appearances from the football club, as well as netball, basketball, rugby and cheerleading societies. So what do you hope to achieve today?
Well, really the main purpose of today was to get as many students out in the nice weather, playing sport. So we've asked for all of the different sports teams to come and do a training session on the lawn or on the hard court.
Will the BSU produce other events like this in the future?
That is the hope. They've got planned some other events that they're going to invite societies to take part in, so it won't just be for sports clubs, but we'll try and get the rest of the students' body involved.
How will an event like this benefit the university as a whole?
Hopefully it will help to improve kind of relations between kind of the sporty and non-sporty students and kind of bridge that gap a little bit so they can kind of actually approach them to talk to them, maybe then decide to get involved a little bit.
It also included music from DJ Cleve, a barbecue and recreational games that proved popular with students.
It's awesome to be presenting the sports because it's quite a small university. I mean, sports aren't necessarily a massive thing, but to have a brand new court that's in great condition like that, I think it's awesome.
I think it's a great event for the uni. Hopefully it gets some more people to join in sport.
Yeah, having a great day, a lot of fun, cracking on with the Pims, sun's out.
Let's hope that this event has been a starting pistol for the BSU this summer. This is Elliot Beverley, Buckingham News.
And now, back to the studio.
Last weekend saw the 171st Grand National take place at Aintree Racecourse in Liverpool. This revered steeplechase was watched on TV by an estimated 600 million people over 140 countries. The race is immensely popular among many people who don't normally watch or bet on horse racing at other times of the year. Olivia Marsden headed up north to place some bets.
The Crabbies Grand National is the one horse race all year that prompts millions of people to have a bet. It serves racing best as a unique annual spectacle that thrills its spectators, then all but disappears from the general consciousness for another 12 months. The race was first run in 1839, and, except for 5 years over the Second World War, has run every consecutive year since. The course itself, which is a distance of just over 4 miles, features much larger fences than those found on conventional National Hunt tracks. Many of these, particularly Beecher's Brook, the Chair and the Canal Turn, have become famous in their own right and, combined with the distance of the event, create what has been called the ultimate test of horse and man. This year's winner was the 8-year-old Many Clouds. This was jockey Leighton Aspel's second consecutive win after last year's victory with Pinot de Rey. And the prize of this prestigious race? A whopping £1 million. A firm favourite hasn't won the race since Comply or Die in 2008, and this is precisely what makes the Grand National so exciting. Anything could happen. This is Olivia Marsden reporting for Buckingham News.
As the nights draw out and the days become warmer, it is becoming apparent that after a cold and dark winter, spring is finally upon us. Elisa Lee helped us spring into the new season by making a traditional peach cobbler, marking International Peach Cobbler Day.
Cobbler originated in the early British American colonies, where settlers who were unable to make pie due to a lack of suet. So they decided to cover stewed fruit with a layer of plain biscuit dough.
The word cobbler comes from the now archaic word cobbler, meaning wooden bowl.
For this recipe, you need half cup of unsalted butter, a cup of all-purpose flour, 2 cups of sugar, a tablespoon of baking powder, a pinch of salt, a cup of milk, a tin of peach slices. Melt butter in a pan. Combine flour, a cup of sugar, baking powder, and salt. Add milk, stirring just until dry ingredients are moistened. Bring remaining 1 cup of sugar, peach slices, and lemon juice to a boil over high heat, stirring constantly. Pour over batter. Do not stir. Bake at 190 degrees for 40 to 45 minutes, or until golden brown. This is Elisa Lee for Buckingham News.
It is time to live a little as it is National Experience Week. The week means that you are officially allowed to have fun, do something different, and generally treat yourself to having a nice time. This week, Alex Shattuck went to explore the different things one can enjoy in Buckingham.
National Experience Week has been bubbling under the surface in the UK for the past 5 years. This week, we've gone to explore the main activities one can do in Buckingham.
If you like old buildings with history and character, Buckingham Chantry Chapel has it all. The building has been a chapel and a school and is one of the oldest buildings in Buckingham. The Old Jail is a museum to experience. It tells the fascinating story of Buckingham and royal life, including the Flora Thompson collection. Located in the heart of historic market town of Buckingham, the museum is the place to come if you would like to enjoy experiencing the history of Buckingham. It is important that National Experience Week gains more recognition because there is a large amount of funding linked with the week. The gift of giving someone a completely new experience which can be cherished for the rest of their life.
After a long day of experiencing what Buckingham has to offer, we ended up in the famous Mitre pub for real ale. This is Alexander Shattuck, Buckingham News.
Buckingham's Mitre pub is a cosy and cheerful place to enjoy a drink after a long day of studying. On Tuesday, the pub won an award from CAMRA, so we sent Lisa Collins down to meet the landlord and talk all things beer.
The Mitre pub is unknown to some students, but Buckingham's finest drinking establishment has finally been awarded the status by the Campaign for Real Ale, or CAMRA. The award sees the Mitre named the best pub in North Bucks and Milton Keynes, a prestigious award for the pub. The award was presented to landlord Keith Templeman by CAMRA representative David Martin in a packed and jubilant pub.
CAMRA is the Campaign for Real Ale, so we promote people drinking in pubs rather than drinking at home. This is a really good example of a community pub. As we can see tonight, there's plenty of people in there, all drinking really well-kept beers and having a good time.
We've spent money and time and energy and hard work on making the pub a lot tidier, cleaner, better equipped, nicer to be in over the years, and it's paying off.
Whether it's beer or ale, crisps or peanuts, Buckingham News didn't need the CAMRA award to note that the Mitre was the best pub in town. This is Lisa Collins for Buckingham News. Ale and farewell.